responsibilities to provide those services here. Educational dollars is not an earmark. That's a trust responsibility. They are supposed to provide that. So, but again, I just wanted to cover a few things, and as I told some, I could probably talk all night, but I just want to hit some of the highlights and look forward to what. Oh, and there was one other thing that I wanted to kind of cover. Over the past few years, we have put out some referendums to the membership that Pat and others had talked about. A few years back, and I attended all of the informational meetings in all the districts in Seattle and Yakima. I think we went out to Spokane too on amending our constitutions to take out the words other than allotted lands. And that's so that we could develop our own probate code, so that we no longer fall under the state's probate code, because the federal process was that at that time, if the tribe didn't have a probate code, then they utilized the states. And so we was pushing to get that amendment done so that our probate code, of which, we received a lot of good comments from the membership on what terminology should be in that probate code, and there's several informational meetings that we received that. But we tried to do that, and I was voted down by about a 60-40. Just recently we put out the 4-year terms issue for a referendum vote. I mean, that issue's been around since the 80s, since I first started attending general membership meetings. And that was voted down by about 60-40. So, we take the direction from the membership. And, as I talk to people, tribal members, it became apparent that more often than not, I don't know if I guess I'm older, but older folks voted against it and the younger folks voted for it. And so maybe some of that change is coming. As you talked about council being elected to 2-year terms, what I've seen in my years, I first got on council in 2001, people that have never worked for the tribe, there's a vast amount of information to learn. Between tribal government with a little over 100 programs and many policies, the corporation and all of their policies and procedures, and let alone getting into funding and the budgets. I mean, you take somebody that's, and I can agree with, even before I got on council, that, there should be some requirements on council. And I think what a lot of people talked about then was, at least 5 years of positive management experience. I agree with what Gail stated, that, you could have degrees of the yin-yang, but if you don't have the common sense to put it in the practical applications, it's not going to do the tribe any good. And unfortunately, I've seen that. I mean, I've worked for our tribe since 1984. Just a little while, I guess. But I've seen that. Or I've seen tribal members come back with the degrees, and I try to tell them, don't do that, but, they want to act like they're smarter than everybody else there. And just burn those bridges. I agree with some of that. Agree with a lot of what Lynn was doing, and I disagreed with some of it too. But that's all of our, we're each entitled to our opinions. And so, I really like the format. I apologize. I've been traveling, haven't made the other meetings. But the respect that's been shown here, the openness, and again, like I said, I look forward to hearing some of the reports that come forward, because I think it'll help support some of the things that we're working on in trying to improve the quality of life of the tribal members here. And, as I said, I could probably talk for a long time, but I think I'll just end with that. And, look forward to whatever the feedback may come forward. And we may agree or we may not. But as somebody mentioned earlier, that's something that we need to be doing at the council more of. It just, sometimes you come to the point where you just agree to disagree. and move forward. And don't be dragging it behind you. Let it go. You're not going to agree. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here. And again, you know, as I said earlier, we were sitting in the back to listen to what you folks had to say. And I wish you all a safe trip home. And when you get home, I hope things are better than when you left it.
I had a quick question about our future upcoming meetings and our follow-up meetings. And we've been using other resources because we were advised we cannot use the tribal community centers, and these are tribal membership meetings.
For those of you that don't know, I used to run this community center down here for over a dozen years, and you have every right to utilize the tribal facilities.
That's right.
I'll just say under our oath of office, it talks about us upholding and defending our Constitution and bylaws, and also, where applicable, the U.S. Constitution, and both talk about freedom of speech, the right to gather in a peaceful manner, and so to me, there's no reason why you cannot use, and I'm a little bit slighted that they've been here. I heard the one in H1 was at the H1 school. They should get the Longhouse at the community centers. And so there's a policy there, just call the directors and see what dates are available and get it set up. Okay. Again, Lemon, thank you.